Record. Okay, welcome to the Limitless Health Club. I am expecting a lot more people, so hopefully they'll show up, but I like to start as close to on time as possible. And my name, if you're not muted, please mute. Here, I can mute everybody. My name is Julie, and thanks for joining me. But I'm in part of the store that we have here in our Redondo Beach clinic, and there's a couple more walls that look a little bit like this, where we carry a lot of different products that are beyond organic to help you, superfoods as well as nutrients you've heard of, and many nutrients you've never heard of. I was going to point, but now they're all alphabetized. We used to keep the functional stuff in one section, but things like nucleoimmune and hisonol and olive leaf are things most people don't usually prescribe themselves, but they get prescribed every day here to do different functions. So if you're used to working with a nutritionist or a health person for your own health, or you've been doing it yourself and you take a lot of supplements, I guarantee what we would do with you would be different because there are functional nutrients. And one of the most important things that I like to teach in this class is to bring it back to the 3 steps to health. And you can watch the video, the recording from either 2 or 3 health club meetings ago, where it's very detailed and the name spells it out. It says, watch this one. And we're editing right now actively with a team to create a better member experience for those of you that are part of the health club, where you'll be able to just watch short clips as well as the whole meetings. Because I know how valuable time is, and the information that I'm about to say, I want to say it 3,000 times until we drill it into your brain, until it's like second nature to your thinking, like drinking water and eating food. And it seems like I can't say it enough, because even the people that I've been working with for 5, 10, or 15 years, when I don't see them that often, they forget that this is the truth about healing. So there are 3 steps to healing. The first one is your biofield. It is the area around your body. It is a plasma energy field. You cannot see it. When this field is intact, healing is limitless. And I've talked about this in many other health club meetings in detail, so I'm giving you the Cliff Note reminder today. When the biofield is intact, healing is limitless. That is how we have the name of this health club, because healing is limitless, and you can definitely heal yourself, and don't let anyone convince you otherwise, that it's complicated or that you can't. Just like a plasma TV, you can't really see the difference of what it is, but it's energy. The things that destroy the biofield are your phone, your computer, your laptop, all your favorite utensil devices that you use, your car, your smart meter, toll booths, going through TSA, the checkout counter at every store. All of these zap your body. And when you are weak, you stay down, you get kicked when you're down. So if you're already tired, nutrient deficient, emotional, one more thing is like the straw that breaks the camel's back. On the opposite, the thing that strengthens your biofield is having your pH alkaline, putting more minerals into your body. Those are the main things. And of course, there's a sleep and energy and emotional stuff. So keep your biofield intact, and putting EMF remediation on your devices. That's what this little circle is here. It's called the Q disc on our website. I realize that I call it EMF stickers way too often, so I made sure we edited our website to say EMF stickers. One of these in the middle of your phone, when you put your phone on top of your head and take 3 breaths, it not only restores your biofield, it restores all your meridians and puts energy in all of your organs and glands. And so when I have my phone with me now, it doesn't just negate the harm, it's a positive addition. When I do energy testing on people, and this is off, this is off, and this is off, we put their EMF remediated phone in their field, all those points are on. That means they're all working energetically. I cannot emphasize this enough, as 5G is now planet-wide. And in order for 5G to work, they have to have towers almost every 100 feet. So there are a lot of them. Hence, storms in Florida, and it poured here all night in California, and there was a lightning storm at like 5 a.m. This is climate change. Climate change is another word at saying big tech has taken over like on the planet energetically. We're not going to go into that. Step 2 to healing, your detox organs: liver, gallbladder, kidneys, intestines, lymph, and partially the stomach, the pancreas, and the adrenals. Those organs are like an oil change in a car. If they are not working on a regular basis optimally, you will have problems. There's somebody here with me who's finishing doing 2 of our biohacking machines, the ozone and the microcirculation machine, because she does not feel good. She's been a member of our health club for many years, is being really affected right now. And what I say, and so having to like asthma-like and have really a hard time breathing. From the time she walked in, like I almost couldn't hear her because every word was like a choking. Within 5 minutes on the ozone and the circulation machine, and we did a laser also, there was like an emotional calm and an energetic calm through her body, and she's talking better and sounds better. And the thing is that whatever treatments you do, whatever supplements you take, massage, acupuncture, working out, all the things that people are doing these days might make you feel great, but they pile all that crap that didn't make you feel good right into your liver. And if the liver is tired or the gallbladder is tired, you start having detox symptoms, which is anxiety, irritability, depression, stress, constipation. Your equilibrium can be off, trouble making decision making, and klutzy. Those are all, and puffy. Those are all different symptoms for different parts of the detox system, which I refer to as the assembly line. As soon as that one part of that assembly line is blocked, there's backup, potentially all the way to the beginning. I have another male client. I've been working with him for over 10 years. Mostly he has been really amazing at taking supplements, and he's been in pain for, at this point, 8 months. He lives out of state. We do remote sessions, and he hasn't been that great of a student with me. He's been doing all these other treatments thinking this person's going to heal me, and this person does Rolfing, and that person's going to heal me. And the thing is, every single time I do meet with him, his liver and kidneys are off, weak or tired, however you want to refer to it. When the liver is off, there is pain. So that means all these treatments that he's doing is just dumping stuff out of a scar or a tight knot into his assembly line, and he's still in pain. That one thing might feel a little better, but the pain has not gone away. The other part of that for him and for the other client here and for really everyone on the planet is the emotional body, which I will come to after step 3. Step 3, so when your detox system, AKA assembly line, is working optimally, then the next goal is to work on your scars. Every scar and trauma you've had from whiplash or hitting your head on the car door, or your baby banging their head into your nose, or a nose job, rhinoplasty, any kind of facial reconstructions, stitches, broken bones, falls to the tailbone, snowboarding, skiing, skateboarding, falling out of a tree, gymnastics, you name it. Every single one of those physical traumas creates a dent in the meridian, and it could have happened 30 or 40 years ago. Well, it takes 20 to 40 years to take down an organ or gland. When there's a dent in the meridian, energy will not flow to that organ or gland 100%. And over the course of the next handful of years, you will have symptoms. The doctors would tell you you're fine and everything's fine, and they'll hand you back lab work that also has random things, high or low, but you don't have a condition, so they tell you you're fine. If I was to work, I or you was to work on, let's say, your C-section scar or a episiotomy or a shoulder injury, and there was a scar, let's say there was a shoulder injury, because you could see that better here. Somebody had shoulder surgery and they decide, oh, I'm going to get a lot of massage on my shoulder. Okay. Every time they work on their shoulder, it dumps toxicity out of the shoulder into the assembly line. And therefore the assembly line will become backed up over time because it's already not functioning well. And there was 10 or 30 years worth of junk in here. So it releases out of here. This might feel good, but now it's in your liver. gallbladder or kidneys, and you still have health problems. So those are the 3 steps. It's biofield, get your detox organs working optimally, and then you can start working on your scars. Every single step of the way, the underlying theme is the emotional body. We can get rid of a scar or a parasite or something related to a C-section or a birth scar, and then the person feels better, and 2 or 3 days later, they would call themselves an emotional wreck, or they would call me and say, all of my problems came back, and I've spent 3 months or $5,000 or whatever it is they've spent time and energy trying to heal, and all their problems came back. Whenever anyone says all their problems come back, I already know it's emotional every single time. And we do an energy test where I use the O-ring. Most of you are familiar with that now. When we do the O-ring test, I don't just test body parts, I also test emotional terms. Now I am healthy. Now I could do whatever it takes to be healthy. Now I love myself. Now I'm happy. Now I'm safe. Now I'm grounded, and money comes easy and frequently. All of those statements have to be true, or I could tell you right now, the people that I just mentioned and many of the people listening, your issue is emotional and or energetic. And in 2022, the definition of this year, which I have heard since New Year's Eve, was 2022 is the year of spirituality. If you pray and or meditate, you will have health. But if you don't find spirituality in some way, shape, or form, you're going to have a rocky year. So if you are just thinking I can pop some supplements and go to the gym and I'm going to be fine, and you're wondering why you have all these weird problems, they don't have to be emotional problems. They could be pain or aches or constipation, but I guarantee you they are energetic and or emotional. That is what's happening on the planet. That's what's happening with the new world. However you want to look at it. I look at the new world in a positive light. In 2020, I might have said differently, but now I'm focused on the new everything and the happy, healthy new world, where we all operate from our hearts instead of stress. Yes, there's all the government chaos and whatever, but I see that in the next 5 or 10 years, the government system, the school system, and the medical system will all be totally different. And the people that really work on themselves and take the time to have meditation or a prayer or whatever you want to call it, and the people that want to be well and let go of stress are the people that are going to succeed the most. So let's start off right away with a couple of treatments that I like to do. And the first one is called Body Talk, and I'll actually show you where you can get this. You can go to, this is not the right page, but you can go to juliehealth.com. Whoops, wrong one. Okay, well, this is the member page, but let's go right here. This is juliehealth.com, and you go to this free download section and you come to this one right here, Body Talk. You can download it. And this first statement right at the top is the one that we're going to look at and we're going to do. It's the one that's in light blue. There's a few other statements here and you can do all of these, but I think the number one is the blue. And then you can add on. So I'm going to walk you through this. I will say it out loud, slow enough so that you can do it. Repeat after me in your mind with your feet on the ground and with a couple of deep breaths. And then because I want you to have a little bit of a build on this, I will add on. And you can say whatever else makes sense to you if my words don't resonate with you, because everyone really needs to find this in their own way. So a couple of deep exhales, feet on the ground. Here we go. And you can close your eyes if you want. Most of you, I think, would be alone in your place, so you can just say it out loud. If you want, you can say it in your head. Usually feels more powerful in your mind if someone else is in the room. Okay. Body. You are healthy, safe, loved, and healed. You easily dissolve any burden, toxin, stress, or excess weight in your path. For this, I am truly grateful. Anything that's in my body that doesn't serve my highest good, please leave now. Anything that's in my energy field that isn't mine, please leave now. Anything that's in my body or my field that doesn't serve my highest good or belongs to somebody else, please leave now. Now I am healthy. Now I am grounded. Now I can do whatever it takes to be healthy. Now I am so excited to be incredibly happy. Now I love myself. Now I know my body is healing. Money comes easy and frequently. And a few extra really long exhales. And I feel like I could stay here for another 10 minutes and just keep breathing, and it feels really good. I feel energy and circulation moving around. I can sense energy. So that's why I said to exhale a few more times, because when you release that stuff, you really want to release it. If you don't exhale, you're not necessarily releasing it. And then we can come over to tapping and swiping, which we can do as part, well, this one won't bring up the whole picture right now. And I'm not going to spend the time looking for it on my computer. I wasn't planning on doing it. Literally just tap and breathe out. Tap everywhere from your head to your pubic bone. It doesn't have to be in order. I do have it in a special order on the sheet that you can download. Make sure you tap your armpits. That's the lymph. Most people do not do enough lymph clearing. Breathing out, especially when you're doing all this emotional stuff. And make sure you swipe down your arms, like shake it out, breathe out, exhale. And then you can also stand up and tap under your breast. That's where the liver and gallbladder and stomach, to the intestines, all the way to the pubic bone. Make sure you get the groins. You get the groins and around the glutes, your lower back. You can use your fists on your back. Breathing out a few times. Coughing if that happens, sneezing, burping, and then you take your hands on your lower back and you swipe down your legs, literally each leg, top and bottom of the foot. And sometimes you do it a couple of times, breathing out just because it feels good. Breathing out, big exhale. I'm going to do the other leg. And exhale. And sometimes I have kids like jump up and down or shake, whatever feels good. And if I wasn't teaching a class, I might stay here for an extra couple of minutes and just like enjoy all this energy moving around. So keep breathing out, and I'm going to stop this share for now. And you're welcome to enter anything into the chat, or if you want to say anything about how you feel. Usually when I teach conferences and I teach tapping and swiping, people feel everywhere from calm and happy and energized to clear. So it just depends on whatever you needed, but breathe out like 4 or 5 more times to just release. And that is, I didn't time to see when we started, but that is the simplest thing that you can do to clear emotional stuff and physical stuff and energetic stuff out of your body. And if you are not doing that every day, then the reason is because your subconscious doesn't believe you can be healthy, or doesn't believe you could do whatever it takes to be healthy. And you know what? In 2022, sometimes you have to do this 3 times a day. And I just spent 4 days with 12 psychics on like a whole amazingness weekend long retreat where I got 5 sessions from 11 other people. And if you think that I just walked out of there and I was like, oh, I'm totally perfect, then you're crazy, because everything I'm just telling you, all that emotional and energetic release opens up the liver and the gallbladder and the kidneys. On the first night, no one slept, all 12. I mean, I slept, I woke up like 3 times, but that to me right away is the gallbladder was talking, because when your gallbladder is off, you don't get good deep sleep. It's harder to fall asleep. But there was so much energy flowing around that everyone had issues. And then I had everyone doing tapping and swiping and some other things, and everyone slept better by night 2. And I had to remind all of these people that are very spiritually based and energy based that they also have a physical body, and that all of that work also requires nutrient support for their liver, gallbladder, kidneys, and intestines. And if you're not pooping a couple of times a day, then there's backup somewhere. We all know what it's like when you don't have bowel movements. You know that your intestines are off, but when that happens, it's your detox system is an assembly line. So there is backup and all those other symptoms I said earlier. You can rewatch this if you want to hear all of those. I wanted to take a couple of questions, and then I do have a few other things I wanted to talk about today, but if you want to raise your hand, if you have a question, I'm happy to take questions now. The person that's here is yawning a lot, so after all of those tapping and swiping, I'll take your question in a minute. The person has their hand up, but tapping and swiping, when you start to yawn, that means the traffic jams are opening, the body is healing. So never, ever, ever interrupt a yawn to speak, because I'll wait, and whatever else you're doing should wait. So go ahead, Janet, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, I'm Jan. How are you? Thank you so much. I'm grateful. I expected something totally different, but I love this. Loved it, how you started everything with all this stuff. So I'm suffering from, not suffering, I have seborrheic dermatitis on my scalp for the past 6 months. And they told me seborrheic dermatitis, but it could be eczema, it could be psoriasis. So I am washing my hair every day with all these medical soaps like antifungal, it's anti-yeast, and all the cortisone for inflammation of the scalp. And it's just like, I'm like really fed up with the whole thing. And my doctor told me it's all emotional. Until you don't get relaxed, you will not get better. And I do have anxiety. I just built a house. I moved was very difficult for me. I have a lot of changes happened. And Chloe's my niece, by the way. You know, Chloe. So, and with her, I just like emotional, like a lot of emotions. So so all of that has like accumulated. I'm trying to do yoga and all that stuff, but I wanted to see what you recommend.
What is your question?
What do you suggest? Or you have people with seborrheic dermatitis or under scalp that you could have cured, or I know you're, what can I do? How can you help me?
Well, I just gave a whole introduction on the 3 steps to healing, and you mentioned anxiety. So that's definitely your assembly line or detox system not working optimally. And having any condition I can line up 25 people with dermatitis and find 25 different reasons why. One person, it's Botox, another person, it's a car accident, it could be a C-section scar. Nothing is ever one thing. And so this is actually a good question for me to answer, because there is not one solution for everybody. That's why something like a vaccine worldwide is never going to work for everybody. We're all different, and we've all had different traumas. We all have different genetics. So, I don't like giving blanket recommendations other than the fact that I can tell you for sure, part of your detox system is not working well. There's probably a scar or three that are reflexing to it and weakening a part of your detox system. That's usually how it is. So for me, it's the gallbladder. I broke my tailbone twice. I had a C-section kind of against my will. I gave in at the last second. And so both of those reflex to the adrenals and the gallbladder. So I spent a lot of time working on clearing those scars permanently. Plus I also injured a shoulder repeatedly, many times. So when you have if they have the same C-section 2 or 3 times, it's just that much harder to clear something because it's been there for years, and compiled. So, with your condition, I can say you look pretty healthy, but you also look dehydrated just from your hair. And I don't know, it's a rainy day, everyone's different. So, you could be deficient in salt and hydration, which also helps the adrenals. I don't know anything about you. I have heard some of your messages that you were calling inquiring with those conditions. It's shocking, positively, or what's the word? Pleasantly shocking that your doctor said it's emotional, because hopefully there's more of that in the future. But usually they just want to drug you. But if your detox system is not working well, and now you're taking pharmaceuticals, which stress out the detox system, you're like fixing a problem and creating another one. So there's that. It's, and I didn't even think of it, dry scalp. And I just said your hair looks dehydrated. So there's that. But if you put in too many oils and your gallbladder is the issue, then you're going to overwhelm your detox system more. The do-it-yourself section that's on my website can walk you through the beginning steps of what I would do with somebody. If they came to see me, I can come back there to the screen share. If you go to juliehealth.com and you go to do it yourself health, that's weird. Let me see what happens when I click there. So, I spent a lot of time writing this out, hours and hours. Step 1, you address the biofield, you address EMF, remediation, minerals. I'm just looking at the things highlighted in green. You make sure you get minerals, you check your pH for minerals. I teach tapping and swiping. Castor oil is one way that you can work on all your detox organs at the same time. You put it on topically before you go in the shower. There's, again, more ocean salts soaking, because when you soak in the ocean salts, you flush out the assembly line and the lymph, but you also hydrate the body and bring a sense of emotional calm in. So it's a lot of the stuff that we already talked about. That's step 1. And it brings you here to what you need. You can look at all these products that I just mentioned. Limonene is an antioxidant. You can put it in your water and you can rub it on your body and it detoxes the lymph. And then there's download. So I've really spelled out this do-it-yourself section, detailed. So if scheduling a one-on-one session is not something someone has the time, money, or energy for, you can just do it yourself right here. These are all the things I would tell every single person to do when they come see me at the beginning. I would also be doing a customized assessment and giving more other information customized to each person, but this is here. And I think at the end of step 1, pretty sure I said, do this for a month before you move on to step 2. Then there's step 2 is finding more balance. And then we go in a little bit deeper into digestion and superfoods. And, and then step 3, we go into building the gut and the mitochondria, because those are also, because every 20 years you have half the amount of mitochondria, and the mitochondria need to have energy in order to work, in order for you to digest food. I want to show you something else here. Let me see if I can pull this up. So, and with all of the all of the toxicity on the planet, etc., most people's mitochondria are not working well. So here is a lab test. So I do energy testing with people, and I also can do functional tests. We do saliva, urine, blood, and poop tests, and we can do hair analysis, whatever. I don't like to do these in the beginning because they're all out of pocket costs, and I would rather someone spend the money on their supplements in the beginning, because usually when people first come see me, they don't have anything and they need EMF remediation on all their devices, and salt and soak, and salt that we eat also, which I didn't mention, but we also need to eat pink salt, like real salt. So, you know, we can soak in it, we can eat it, and we can put minerals into our water. Like, we just have to pound oil and salt. I cooked dinner twice for my friends on this weekend, and everyone was like, oh, this food is amazing. And all I did was put this and our coconut oil in everything. And then I put some of our EFI oil on top. I don't use many other seasonings, but those three things make everything taste amazing. And they are all three essential nutrients for the body: coconut oil, EFA oil, and pink salt. So
you said you eat them, the coconut oil?
I cook all my food with them and I eat them. So I have it because I'm sitting right here. Coconut oil and EFA oil. We go through a bottle of this like every 2 days in my house because I have my child trained well. We need more fat, and we need good fat. When you eat enough fat and you eat enough salt, you don't crave. End of story. You crave sugar if you don't eat enough protein or fat, and you crave salt if you need salt. So why not eat them, but eat the healthy ones. So anyway, so I do an energy test when I work with people to figure out exactly what's going on in your body. I can also run a lab test, but let's say someone comes in today and we decide we're going to do this test, which is called the NutriVal, which is sort of like the name is there. I just wanted you to see. It's like a overview of what's going on in your body. There are 12 systems in the body, and this checks in on about 7 of them. So I just like to run this test to see, where are we? Which direction are we go? Which direction do we need to focus on? Digestion? Is it toxicity? Is it functional? And what I'm just going to show you the first page really quick. The first page here is just a summary. I don't know if I have my pointer over here. Let's see, I like using my heart, my stamps. Okay, so we have oxidative stress. So this is a sample. I didn't give you any one specifics test. This person has, so 8 to 10 or red is super, super high. This person has a lot of stress. They have mitochondria dysfunction. They have an imbalance in their omega-3, 6, and 9. They have toxic exposure, and they have a methylation imbalance. And if your mitochondria are not working and your methylation is not happening in your body, you are not going to feel good. Nothing's working. You can be dieting all day long and eating everything right, and nothing's working. That right there is the reason why. So I do like to run these tests because, I like to run these tests because it gives us solid information. And so, but we do energy tests in the beginning when I work with someone, without whoever comes in person. My clients that I work with mostly remotely, we do lab tests. And now I can't figure out how to move this thing.
I do have I did the inflammation test for food sensitivity, and like about 4 months ago. And they also told me like what vitamins I'm lacking, like D3 is not absorbing, all that stuff. I
right.
did
So
I can do that to you if that works for you.
Well, if we schedule a one-on-one, I'm not gonna
Yeah, okay.
assess it unless we're having a session. And even like I was just gonna say like this, I'm just gonna kind of go on and explain this more generically, that because I can't really answer your question in detail. Like I don't have the capacity in this group class to detail answer someone's questions. I can guide and give information. So I've already found some things for you, and I'm pointing out this test because I want to show. I'm just going to stop the share for a second and then go back in because I couldn't figure out how to do it, because I can cure cancer, but I don't know how to use Zoom sometimes. Okay, so now I want you to see, this is for everybody, not just you. This test looks at This is all, I'm not going to go through this in super detail, but red, yellow, and green, you all know what that looks like, a stoplight, right? So this is a bunch of different nutrients. Green, the person is sufficient. Yellow, they're on the borderline, and red, they are flat out deficient. I don't do food allergy testing because, excuse my French, but it's BS. Because
Yeah, I agree with
if you
I
have food
agree.
allergies, it's because your liver is not working correctly. And that brings us back to, is it the liver or is it the gallbladder, kidneys, or somewhere else further on the assembly line? I'm going to just explain this. If you want to go ahead and mute yourself for now, I don't want anyone else to feel like it's unfair, like I'm just taking your question. I'll take any other questions momentarily. I wanted to show this picture, just to see what a functional lab test can look like. Right here, this is the page I wanted you to see. This is related to your digestion. At the top, you have on the left fats, in the middle carbs, and on the right proteins. And all of these things get digested. You can follow the arrows. You don't have to memorize this. Beta oxidation on the left is, let me get my little stamp again. Beta oxidation is called burning fat. If you don't have enough oxygen and you don't have, then your body can't burn fat. And according to this picture, you also need magnesium and B2. And so this flow chart has to go through to this. Carbohydrates need magnesium, all these B vitamins to turn into acetyl-CoA. Protein breaks down into amino acids. All of those enter this cycle right here. And this is, once I use my little pointer, I cannot roll the screen. This is what needs to happen in order to digest food. And I really want you to see, I'm going to go back in because I don't know how to do that yet. I want you to see something specific down here at the bottom. This is called the Krebs cycle. This citric acid cycle is a nickname for it. And you can see Fe is iron, GSH is glutathione, B2, B1, B3, magnesium, manganese. All of those are required in order to make this, in order to take food and convert it. And then you come over here to these bottom two arrows, and right here, where it comes out of the cycle and from the Krebs cycle, and it goes to what's called the electron transport chain. And right here, coenzyme Q10, and glutathione, most people are totally deficient in those. And if you do not have those, your body cannot take food and make it into energy, because that's the byproduct. That's the end product of this. This is just showing you what happens from the moment you put a piece of food in your body until it turns into energy. And so one of the number one most popular supplements we put people on is CoQ10, because it just so happens to be one of the most important nutrients, as is glutathione. And CoQ is here in two steps. It's up here and it's down here where I just put the heart. And if you don't have enough CoQ, your body cannot convert food into energy. And guess what? Your devices pull CoQ10 out of your body. And when your biofield is off, you're also deficient in CoQ10. You need more to get back. So this is what happens with food from the moment you take it in. So if you're just looking at, I eat healthy, well, what if you're on a device that hasn't been remediated? What if you drive a Tesla or an electric car? What if you have security system around your house? And what if you have a security system around your house and your house is like EMF crazy? You can't convert food into energy. Plus, so that leads all the way back to what I showed at the beginning. That leads all the way back to what I showed at the beginning, which is that this person has a 7 or a 9 or a 10 on their mitochondria and their methylation and their nutrients, because they think they're eating, but they are not getting the nutrients into the cell to do the job. So I like to show that this test and all of this science, because it makes more, I think it makes sense. This next page here is about malabsorption and blood sugar imbalance, yeast and fungus. Somebody joined, I'm going to mute you. Okay. Blood sugar imbalance, amino acids. Amino acids are, protein is so overrated in today's world. And what if you can't digest them? Like, so many people cannot digest protein. So they're walking around with the tons of protein and it's just like overbearing on their kidneys. And what is the number one thing most people have in our society? Low back pain. So, is it from a fall, or is it because your kidneys are just not doing their job well? So it really comes down to, what is going on in your body, on every level. The name of the test is the NutriVal. And like all of the other tests that we offer, there's like all these possible add-ons. So it's somewhere between $300 to $400 to do this test. Plus you have to get your blood drawn. There's also a urine component to it. And we can do a couple of saliva. When you do this test, they offer 3 different genetic SNPs, as they're called. Like we can do to see if you're methyl tetrahydride, if you have the folic acid imbalance where your body can't digest folic acid, where you need to take it in a supplement. The MTHFR is what it's called. There's also genetic predisposition to inflammation and another genetic predisposition to being deficient in B vitamins. So I usually try to run those when we run this test too, because they don't really do those tests on their own too often. And then we have genetic information on you as well. So this test gives us which part of the body is where the weakest links are. And this is a sample. So I think they just gave you a lot of different areas. So this person is a little bit malabsorbing. They have some blood sugar and yeast and fungus. We already saw from the homepage, you already saw this person's a mess. So most of our tests are not like this, but I will tell you there's let me just go through this a teeny bit more, and then just so you could see, then there's energy metabolism, serotonin markers, brain stuff. It shows you about carbohydrate metabolism, toxicity, and antioxidants. Does this person have enough? And here's like some more science with methylation. You don't have to memorize methylation. You just have to know that your body needs to do it. Then we have the full breakdown of amino acids on the left. B vitamins and urea is related to B vitamins, urea is related to the kidneys. So this goes through so it's almost too much information when I first start working with someone, but when I work with someone remotely, it gives us something concrete data that, some people like to see. And then it breaks down all the different fats, omega-3, 6, 9, saturated, unsaturated. Are you at cardiovascular risks? And then the next page, which I also really like, they show you all the nutrients you need to go from one to the next. Like everything in digestion and science is about a flow. So if you don't have enough of these nutrients here, zinc, magnesium, vitamin C, B2, 3, and 6, your body can't do this. It can't convert this into this, and it can't convert this into this. And if you don't have enough of these nutrients, more B vitamins again, you can't do this part. And I got to stop my share again because I got to show you the next part. And at the bottom of this, which most people know, they don't even spell it. Okay, yeah, it's DHA, docosahexaenoate. That's DHA on the left. And, that sometimes they have EPA here too. So yeah, so anyway, the end result is DHA. So that's why we give DHA to a lot of people. And that's why a lot of people are taking these nutrients, because you can just open, you're good. So that's why a lot of people are taking these nutrients, because we need to boost the functionality of what's going on in the body. And then this test never ends. It's so long. Okay, then we can see this person has some lead exposure, mercury, and a little cadmium. Okay, that is that test. So it's a lot of information. And it just tells us which direction do we need to work in. Is your problem digestion, or is it toxicity? And is it essential fats, or is it B vitamins or amino acids? It just helps us. Everything that we do is like it's like an exclusion process. We're like, okay, anything could be wrong. and we run this test and go, oh, you're totally fine in that, but let's work on this. And, don't think that doctors are any different. They are just guessing. You've probably heard them say millions of times, well, let's see how this does. And then let's try this starting dose, and we could always adjust, because they don't know, and they don't run these lab tests. And I've run lab tests like this before. One specific time I ran a lab test like this for a patient. It was not this test, it was a stool test. And we found all this stuff related to their gut and parasites, and they wanted a prescription from their doctor. So they brought the results to the doctor, and the doctor said, I have to run my own test. So of course they ran another test, and they found nothing wrong with the person. So that's our medical system right there. There are hundreds of tests I can order for somebody that are functional, that give us information. The regular blood panel you do at a doctor, and they give it back to you and go, you're fine, but like your cholesterol is high and your iron's like a drop low, and they go, you're fine, we'll just watch it. When we do these tests, we get the reason why. When we do the energy tests, we get the reason why. It's because your liver is clogged and you have a scar reflexing to your liver or your kidney. So this is how the bridge is of the work that I do with people one-on-one, can be looked at sort of from like the way that we do medical, whatever you want to call medical. I wouldn't call it health in this world. They run tests, you look at it, and then they guess at what to give you. But when we do energy tests and we do lab tests like this, there's no guessing. It's like exact and precise of what you need. Somebody asked about hormones. That's a totally separate test. In this test, they're not looking at that. We look at hormones through saliva. If your doctor runs a blood test on you because you're wondering if you're in menopause or something, and they run a blood test and they tell you this is high or that's low, it's a lie. Because blood test is one moment in time where you're starving and you got to the doctor's office and you had to wait in line and you're stressed and maybe you're on your phone and it doesn't have EMF remediation, and then they draw your blood and they go, oh, your cortisol was high. Of course it was. You're like stressed out all morning before you got the blood drawn. When you do a saliva test at home yourself, there's either 4 or 6 readings a day. We get a full picture of your body in a day, where your stress is, which affects all of your hormones. And I actually, I have a couple of those handy. So let me open one and then let me share my screen. And we don't have a lot of time left. And does anyone else have any questions, or do you want me to go into this? I'll start. And if you have a question, you can unmute and start to ask, but I wanted to share this. So this is a hormone flow chart is what it's called. This is more science. Today's like big science day. And you don't have to memorize the science. You just have to understand it, because usually it's just that. It's like it makes sense to people. So on this flow chart, you see cholesterol at the top, right? And so here's your cholesterol. And the doctor goes, your cholesterol is really high. And you go, oh my gosh. First of all, if you take a statin for your cholesterol, it depletes you in CoQ10. And we just saw how important that was to digest food and make energy. So just like a antibiotic is prescribed these days with a probiotic, which really isn't enough. It needs to be a prebiotic and a probiotic, but cholesterol should only be, cholesterol medications should always be taken with more CoQ than you can ever think. So then cholesterol gets converted into pregnenolone, which could either go this way, which is survival, to cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. Your body will secrete cortisol in response to stress. Stress can be, I'm not digesting my food well. It could be, I have an exam. It could be a certain person, a job. It could be being on an airplane for hours or going through like some kind of, I don't know, security check. Last time I had to go through security where I didn't get to use TSA pre, I was stressed beyond explanation. I felt like a criminal and a prisoner, the way what they do. And I feel sad that anyone has to do that. But thankfully I don't on a regular basis. It was a mistake on my whatever boarding pass, but just saying like something so silly as getting on an airport was like so stressful. So I secrete more cortisol. When you go to this right side, it's survival. When you go to this left side, it's reproduction. And so what you see over here is DHEA, and that's one of those things doctors are so good at telling people your DHEA is low. Well, yeah, it's low because you're producing cortisol instead. So this flow chart can either go to the right or the left. And let's say it's supposed to be 50-50, when you have more stress, it's going to go like 80% to cortisol and 20% to the left. And I have to share my screen again to show you the main point here. And so on this chart on the left, you can see estrogens at the bottom. So if you're in menopause and your doctor's like, oh, your estrogen's too high or too low, well, look at where it starts. It starts with cholesterol, and cholesterol and cortisol are directly connected. So if your cholesterol is high, you need to check your cortisol, because that's really where the problem lies. And then this chart, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. So let me just do a quick 1-minute explanation on this one. This is like part 2 of my hormone education. And there's a lot of information on here. And so in the top middle, there's a bunch of different reasons for stress. As I just said, it could be psychologic, EMF, energetic, emotional, lack of sleep, people, places, things, jobs, etc. And so on the left, it's the HPA axis. The right is HPT. The left is hypothalamus, top of the head, pituitary, also known as the third eye, and the adrenals in the middle of your back. On the right is the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the thyroid, which is at the base of the neck. And so they are very similar, but when your body, we're going back to the first picture where cortisol, your body secreted a lot of cortisol. Well, when you secrete that much cortisol, what happens is you do this, and you basically inhibit the thyroid from working. And then so when there's 3 arrows here and 1 here. So this one is when you're secreting a lot of cortisol. You go down the flow chart this way, and you inhibit the thyroid this way and this way. So somebody came in the other day and their T3, their free T3 was high. And I said, it is not getting into the cell. If it's floating around high, then it's not going into the cell. If your T4 is high, then you're probably not converting it into T3. And so anyway, you don't need to know all the details of this, but the main point of where all those hearts are is cortisol. The more stress you have in any way, shape, or form, the less your thyroid's going to work. And therefore, again, no matter how hard you try, you can't lose weight. So I'm tired of talking. Does anyone else have a last question? Those were actually a lot of the things I wanted to talk about today, other than just to remind you the components of the assembly line. Liver, gallbladder, kidneys, pancreas, intestines, and lymph. And then it recirculate through the body. Okay, so we just have a couple of minutes left. I was going to tell you one other thing about one of our new favorite products, since no one else asked another question. This is a liquid you can drink, and this is a gel you can rub on your body. And this was discovered semi by mistake. It is called redox molecules, reduction and oxidation combined. Every day your body is doing reduction and oxidation reactions. Picture it like all those arrows that I just showed you, thousands and thousands of arrows in your body. And there is no other supplement on the market in the world that has stabilized redox molecules. It is something your body does and needs. And again, Wi-Fi, EMF, like everything in the body is chaos. So sometimes things don't happen. We remediate that with our light therapy. You all know by now I talk about the laser every second. Light therapy also turns on your mitochondria and can help you grow more mitochondria. It's one of the reasons we do so much of it, and why the people that come here and get so much light therapy feel better and look younger, because every 20 years you have half the amount of mitochondria as you had before, and then they're not working as well. So in any event, going back to the redox molecules, the guy who discovered how to stabilize redox molecules outside of the body. He was looking for some other scientific discovery. So he told a friend about it, and the friend was just retiring and decided, this is cool, let me look into this. And they were going to sell this to the pharmaceutical industry, who wanted to buy it to shut it down. So whenever you hear those words, you're like, it must be good. And I don't have a ton of information to tell you about redox molecules because I've still been learning, but we do have, we do have something on my website, but now I don't know. Let's see if I share my screen. Oops. I do have in the free download section, we were there before. The bottom one on the right is about, see if I can do it. Okay, so trying to, if you go to here, free downloads, found it. The bottom one on the right talks about ASEA. And so you can download that and look at that. It raised, oh shoot, it's sideways. Good to find that out. It tells you a few things about it. It raises your glutathione by, I think, 700%. We just saw how important glutathione is. I'm going to stop sharing. You can watch that. You can look at that yourself. The bottom line is there's a website with people around the world telling miracle stories that have happened to them from using ASEA because of these molecules and what they do. They basically go into your body and help your body do everything it's already doing better. And I have watched a couple of webinars of people that have been promoting ASEA, people, because it's distributed through people rather than like sold at stores. And so I've watched a couple of webinars. Every single person on there looks vibrant and young and healthy. And the stories that have come from children that didn't go to school for a year and were laying on the couch and couldn't even function, to like 2 months later, the child was like functioning, and like 5 months later, the child is back in school. And the only thing they changed was using ASEA. And then just so many stories. I cried for hours. It lowers your blood sugar, it raises your glutathione, and it just helps anti-age is what I see it as. And that was kind of more how it was introduced. It was introduced to me twice. And I didn't grab it the first time because we were focusing on something else. And then we brought it into our practice more recently. And, it's just another thing. Some people don't want to take a lot of supplements, but they can rub a gel or they can drink a drink. And all those people that I've seen online that are using it are not doing the millions of things that I do and that we do here at Julie E Health. And they still look phenomenal and they feel great. And most of them look 20 years younger than they did before they started taking it. So I just sharing like another cool thing. I can explain similar stories about thousands of other products and treatments that we have here, but it's just different. You drink like 2 ounces in the morning and 2 ounces in the evening, and you see what miracles happen to you. Some of the people's stories were at 2 months, some were at 5 months. Some lady lost 180 pounds after drinking it for a year, and she really didn't change much else. People's gums got better, the hair was better, their skin healed. Someone couldn't turn his neck, and he says he drinks a half a bottle a day because it was like so magical for him. He was doing 4 therapy sessions a week, and then one day his neck turned, and ever since he's been fine. So just there's a lot of cool products on the market. I try to find the ones that are the cleanest, the most unique, the most efficient and effective. And that is what we offer here. And when you do something in a customized format, then I walk you through from beginning to end with your body, because whatever products you take in January, that's your today body in January. But by March, after we've done some things for your body, you should have a totally different today body. So then we adjust. There are things that you might take forever, like pink salt, as I mentioned, or digestive enzymes, or vitamin C, or minerals. But then there are things that you take therapeutically, like Radiant Woman, Nucleo, Hisonol, Venamend. There are things you wouldn't normally go to the store and buy. And you can walk yourself through the do-it-yourself section and learn and figure out some of that on your own to get to a point. And you can order lab tests, and my assistant Liv and I help do all of that. Even if people don't do one-on-one sessions, we just want you to be healthy. So we have the one-on-one sessions, the do-it-yourself, and this health club where I help teach a lot of things. And the woman that was here doing treatments just left a couple of minutes ago, but she's been coming here on average once a month for like 8 years, and sitting here listening, she still learned things because you only absorb, the ASEA crossed my path twice. I grabbed it the second time. The first time it was like, what? And that's how healing is. That's why I repeat the same thing over and over and over again till you get it. It's a new language, but it is the language of how your body works. And I want you to get it. So get it and watch these videos repeatedly and tell your friends, and whatever makes sense for you is what you should do as your next step. The gel we have for topical, you can use it on your face and neck for anti-aging. You can do the drink. I mentioned pink salt, EFA, coconut oil. I also mentioned our amino acids. We have an amino acid electrolyte powder that is fantastic. That you can make your water taste great and get hydrated, and amino acids. We also have an amino acid powder that's just amino acids. There's no ceiling on taking too many amino acids. Your body will use what it needs and you'll piece them out. Castor oil for all your detox organs. And I could really go on because really there's so many different things you can do. You just have to go, this is what I want to try, and that's where I'm going to go as my next step. Or you could start with the do it yourself and follow it through. But some of the people that are members of this health club have also had private one-on-one sessions. So if you're like, oh, I want to try this or I want to try that, there's so many different things you can do. You're going to use the code I love myself at the checkout if you order on our website, and that will give you 15% off. And as I said, we're evolving the health club, the online. So if you go back to juliehealth.com, there is a section when you join this health club. Some of you just take the link because we've still been emailing it and texting it out to people we know are interested. Your first month is free. After that, it's only $40. So technically it's like $20 each hour, which is a lot less than my one-on-one session time. And you can watch the videos repeatedly and you still get discount. You get 15% off everything in our store and on our website. So I hope that you guys take the next step in health, because you can definitely heal yourself. And on that note, I say, have a healthy day, and I will see you guys again in 2 weeks. So we meet on the second Wednesday and the fourth Thursday of each month. Okay, have a healthy night.
Thank you.